To move on from loneliness. I'm Jessica Go, trauma coach in childhood abuse, and it's really important for you to understand that loneliness is actually coming from the impacts of two different types of childhood traumas. And so the first common complaint that many people experience when it comes to loneliness is that they don't feel safe with people. They want you to stay away, get away from me. I want to be alone. And it's a lonely journey because they know that deep down they want to be with people, but at the same time they're so frightened and scared because the fear is that their freedom would be taken away from them, their power would be taken away, they would be abused again. And this comes back to childhood trauma number 3, where you've been suffocated by an overprotective and manipulative mother, where you felt enmeshed by her and she would dump all her problems to you. She would tell you what to do, how to be a good kid, and if you don't listen to her, you feel bad because you feel like you didn't please her, and that creates a lot of guilt. So it's just easier to just be alone, to be free. Freedom is a value that you highly appreciate, and this is why you tend to do things alone, or you tend to be alone. So what can you do with this complaint of not feeling safe with people, and that loneliness is your friend, but really it's not, because you deep down you do want to be with people, but you just don't know how? You need to let go of the impacts of abuse that you suffered, emotional abuse that was created with your mother, any sexual or physical abuse that you've experienced. As soon as you can let that go, then you're not holding on to the distortion in your perspective of people abusing you, because that's your past playing out in the present moment, but that's not what's really happening. And so it's just an old program in the background telling you that you're going to be abused, because that was your very first experiences in your childhood. So it's about letting go of the abuse. And as soon as you keep letting go of the abuse, it's going to be easier for you to be safe with people in your own way. And this requires healthy boundaries, independence, emotional independence, to not get caught up in other people's opinions, but to focus on how you feel about yourself. And childhood trauma number 3, the Humanitarian, their biggest fear is being criticized by other people, because they were deeply criticized by their parents, particularly their mother. The second complaint regarding to loneliness is, please stay with me. And this is all about creating codependency. So this comes back to childhood trauma number 2, where you have the fear of being alone. And loneliness equates to unworthiness, abandoned. You've been abandoned, neglected by your mother in the first 18 months of life. You were either adopted, or you were breastfed but you didn't have that emotional bonding, or you weren't breastfed and I wasn't breastfed. And so this creates abandonment anxiety. So whenever we become involved in a relationship, we have this fear that they're going to let us go. And so what we do is we hold on to that person, that relationship real tight, so they don't let us go. But what that does is that creates codependency and toxicity, that we can't be emotionally independent to stand in our own 2 feet. And the other person will be so put off by it that you're coming across too strong, too needy, too emotional. And they know that they can't be a mother to you, and they don't want that in a relationship. They don't want to deal with a child in a relationship that is constantly looking to be mothered. And so a person who suffers from abandonment anxiety, that they rather be in any relationship, even a toxic relationship, than to be alone. What you need is to fill yourself up with love. As soon as you can fill yourself up with love, then you don't have the desire or the craving to be in a relationship. So I encourage you to do some breath work, qigong, to fill up the chest area, So focus on breath work that helps to expand your chest so you can feel more comfortable in your own worthiness, because that's where the abandonment anxiety occurs, is actually during breastfeeding stage, where you're not breastfed, you were taken away by mom, or you were breastfed but the emotional connection was just not there. If this resonates with you and you like to learn more about the impacts of childhood trauma, check out my free webinar. Just click on the link below, how you can overcome the impacts of childhood abuse in just 3 months. And if this resonates with you, you can book a free clarity call with myself to see if we're a right fit to work together for you to make peace with your past and find your you. I hope this serves you, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and make any comments below, questions that you have regarding to the content. I'm more than happy to serve you. And I just want to bless you with all of my love, because you can turn loneliness into worthiness.